comments about Canada's snap election, right? So you got this guy named Justin Trudeau. Oh, Justin Trudeau. Oh, no. Justin Trudeau, he's been the Prime Minister since 2015 for 6 fucking years. Who runs Canada? Justin Trudeau. He's legalized marijuana in Canada. So he could lose it all. Why? Because he called a snap election on August 15th. That means there's going to be an election for essentially what's the president of Canada, the Prime Minister, on September 20th. September 20th. So that means Justin Trudeau, he could lose the entire shebang. He could lose all of Canada. Or Justin Trudeau could come in with a brand spanking new mandate in order to get a brand spanking new, more sweeping changes to get accomplished. So there you go, Justin Trudeau, oh, good old pretty boy Floyd, Canada's Obama, Mr. Marijuana, Mr. Canada. Justin Trudeau called a snap election August 15th, so September 20th, which isn't, this is less than a month away. Less than a month away, Canada is going to have an election for the most powerful chair in Canada's government. So that's going to take place September 20th, 2021. It's also going to elect members of the House of Commons to the 44th Canadian Parliament. So you're going to have the Prime Minister and you're going to have some members of the House of Commons. The writs of election were issued by the Governor General Mary Simon August 15th, 2021, when Prime Minister Justin Trudeau requested the dissolution of Parliament for a snap election. So, Jesus Christ, the Prime Minister of Canada just dissolved Parliament? That sounds so fucking crazy to me. The President just dissolved Congress, but they just did that shit in Tunisia, too. Tunisia, what the fuck is going on in Tunisia? The one success for the Arab Spring, the one democratic republic that was successful during the Arab Spring, has dissolved their parliament. And here we see Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Apparently that's what they do. They dissolve the parliament, they have a bunch of elections, and then, you know, they go from there. So for a month, they're just going to campaign. I had mixed feelings about it, but I like it a lot because 1 month of campaigning, you don't have campaigning for 3 to 4 fucking years. You got 1 month of campaigning. Get your issues, get your, platform, get your candidates out there. Let the people of Canada decide, and then once they decide the government, that's the government you go with. So what kind of Canada, what's the brand new Canada that Justin Trudeau wants to bring about? Well, he's yes on vaccine passports, which is a very smart political issue since most Canadians support vaccine passports. This is intelligent. This is great. I do too. Half of the United States of America is pigpen. My God. Canada has to have vaccine passports because they live right next to America. Bunch of nasty, disgusting, stupid anti-science, anti-medicine culture of ignoramuses. How come the culture of ignorance? Well, that sounds like knowledge. I'd rather go with the culture of ignorance. That's what I'm going to do. Why? You're going to be against vaccines? Vaccines cure the thing forever. You stupid fuck. You couldn't even go to goddamn school unless you got your damn shots. And now you're going to be against shots because you're so fucking smart and intelligent? Get the fuck out of here. So Justin Trudeau is making vaccine passports a political issue. Justin Trudeau is also going to ban foreign home ownership. So nobody outside of Canada can buy a home in Canada for 2 years if he gets reelected. So this isn't, huge sweeping things. It's not exactly legal marijuana, but John Hickenlooper, he wrote on his marijuana credentials for 10 years after he stepped down from the governor's throne. And so Justin Trudeau, he's going to get Canada some vaccine passports. He's going to ban foreign home ownership. So sorry, Russia and China and America, you can't buy any homes in Canada for 2 years. Canada is for Canadians only. Stay the fuck out, foreigners. So that's a little xenophobic, but it also could be patriotic, Canadian pride, Canadian proud. Justin Trudeau, he promises a 3% surtax on big banks and the profits of insurance companies. Fantastic. 3% surtax on big banks, insurance profits. Who the fuck would even protest against that. Justin Trudeau also wants $10 a day child care for all parents. How much does it cost to send your child to get some child care? $10 a day. $10 a day. That's also the position for the new Democratic Party, too. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the new Democratic Party. But first, the main competitor against Justin Trudeau is a guy called Erin O'Toole. Erin O'Toole is a man. I know his first name is Erin, but Erin O'Toole is a man, and he's pro-handguns. He's conservative. He's no on vaccine passports, and he's also in favor of private for public health care. Justin Trudeau is slamming Erin O'Toole on that. What, you want to take away our universal health care? My God, Justin Trudeau is hitting the conservatives because Erin O'Toole is not a slam dunk shoe-in for their universal health care system. What, you're trying to privatize it so you can get rid of the universal health care system? It's probably one of the best things that Canada has. One of the best things that Canada has that America is wholly without. Canada cares about the health of their citizens, the health of their citizens, whereas America, not so much. Not so much. So Erin O'Toole, here's a little bit of Erin O'Toole right here.
Poor outcomes and deadly outcomes in some cases for long-term care facilities.
It's the question. They're asking him the question. Erin O'Toole is going to be the one that answers the question. So,
well, the sad situation, the tragic situation in long-term care at the first wave of the pandemic was really the most heartbreaking part of the early stage of COVID-19. And in my own region of Durham, one of the first homes hit was a publicly owned long-term care facility. We weren't prepared. And Mr. Trudeau gave away PPE, was slow on obtaining vaccines and rapid tests. So what we need to do is make sure we're prepared. And Canada's recovery plan, our fourth pillar, is making sure we're never again unprepared, building up capacity, making sure our healthcare system, vaccines, critical medicines, PPE are supplied. So we will be a partner with provinces as they prepare their long-term care systems to better respond to a health crisis like COVID-19. We will be a federal partner that will be there for the masks, the PPE, the vaccine supply, and our $60 billion of commitment of additional funds for our public health system that will help provinces address needs in long-term.
So this is going to be a very tough bout for Justin Trudeau. Erin O'Toole, he's got them what? Those nice pearly blues. He's got them, them blue eyes, and then he's got the white hair, and he's basically just, straight Republican, straight up Republican, right? But he seems like a nice guy. He seems well dressed, seems informed, doesn't seem like he's over the top radical. He's trying to, have a conversation. He's trying to have a conversation with Canada. So that's a little bit of Erin O'Toole. Now, again, he's pro-handguns, no on vaccine passports, and he's also in favor of for-profit, for-profit insurance. Now, the polls in Canada are showing that Justin Trudeau and Erin O'Toole are neck and neck, 33% to 32%. They're neck and neck. So it could be one or the other. Diverger's law says it comes down to two anyways, but Canada has 6 political parties. So it's not just the Conservatives and the Liberals. Those are the 2 main parties, but there's also 3, 4 other parties too. The Green Party, the People's Party, the Quebec Party, and the New Democratic Party. I mentioned the New Democratic Party out of all the other ones because this would be Canada's most important, biggest third party, the New Democratic Party. So this is incredible. You have the Liberals and the Conservatives, right, 32, 33%, so both of them are about a third of the country. And then you have the New Democratic Party, which is 1/5 of the country. That's a lot of fucking liberals. There's a lot of liberals in Canada. The New Democratic Party is going to take a lot of votes away from Justin Trudeau, but it will also make sure that Justin Trudeau stays, true to his progressive roots, assuming he has, legalizing marijuana is progressive, but I've also heard that he's very neoliberal. So there's a Green Party, there's a Quebec Party, there's a People's Party, but there's the main two parties of the Liberal and the Conservative Party, which are polling at 32, 33%, so both of them are about a third of the country. But the New Democratic Party, they're polling at 20%, so that's phenomenal. That means they're a player, and not only are they a player, not only can they, be a small wedge, but they're going to be a big wedge, and that's a big enough wedge to actually win the whole damn thing. So to me, it looks like it's a three-way race. It's a three-way race. And usually, there's, who's the libertarian? I'm not sure who the libertarian is, but I think that the heart of just humanity, you got your far left, far right, your center left, center right. So that's, that's all. Those are the only positions you can take anyways. So Canada's got irrelevant people's parties and green parties too, America, so there's something we can relate to. We got irrelevant people's parties and irrelevant green parties, but actually Canada, since it's a parliamentary system, Canada, the Green Party and the People's Party, they'll actually get some power in Canada. Annamie Paul is the Green Party candidate, and I hope that, Annamie Paul is the person that I want to vote for Annamie Paul, immediately. The Green Party, yes, that's the one I want. But the New Democratic Party, since they are relevant, I have to check into them. And here's what I found out a little bit about them. There's a guy his name is Jagmeet Singh, with an H at the end, Singh. So Jagmeet. So a man named Jagmeet. He wears a turban. So Jagmeet, he's New Democratic Party. This is the biggest third party in Canada. Jagmeet believes in $10 a day for child care. $10 a day child care, the exact same thing for Justin Trudeau. So both Trudeau and Jagmeet believe in $10 a day child care. They also, Jagmeet specifically wants to abolish the Senate. Jagmeet also wants to raise the minimum wage of Canada to $20 an hour. And Jagmeet also wants to expand Medicare for all to include dental and pharmaceuticals. So apparently Medicare for all, the universal health care system in Canada, doesn't include their drugs nor their dental, which that doesn't sound very universal health care to me at all. How does it not have dental or pharmaceutical? What the fuck? Go to the damn doctor and they say, get your medicine. Well, can't afford this shit because damn. Anyways, so that's Jagmeet. He wants to expand Medicare to include dental and pharmaceuticals. He wants to increase the minimum wage to $20 an hour. He wants to abolish the Senate. And he also agrees with the $10 a day for child care. Here's a little bit of Jagmeet right here.
Well, I'm a mom, and I'd love to have a second child, and I can't afford it. So this is a huge crisis that's plaguing moms all over Canada.
So
how are you going to fix it?
Yeah.
Where is the money coming from?
So I think, first of all, if it's something is a priority, we see governments get it done. Like, so last year...
So where is the money coming from?
Well,
Sorry to cut you off.
No, not at all. I'll give you an example. So last year, the Liberal government chose to give $14 billion away to the wealthiest corporations to buy limos and corporate jets.
That's not relevant to my question. Sorry to cut you off again. Where is the money coming from? This $10 billion, where is it coming from?
So mine is coming from different choices. So we wouldn't choose to give billions to billionaires. We give it to childcare. We'd invest in childcare. The second thing we do is we have limited resources. We take it very seriously. We make better decisions. So one is we choose to give to people, not to billionaires. The second thing is we'd ask for more revenue. So the revenue that we're going to look at is the wealthiest in our country don't pay their fair share. So there's offshore tax havens that are $23 billion.
I'm going to have to cut you off again. I'm sorry. I'm just wondering where specifically you are going to find this money and then where you're going to put it.
I'm telling you that, I think. I'm saying that there's $23 billion of offshore tax havens that we're going to clamp down on and use those investments in things like childcare. Okay. We're going to ask the super wealthy to pay a wealth tax. So those who have wealth of over $20 million, we're going to ask them to pay 1% on that. The PBO has said that would be a $70 billion investment.
She's kind of getting a little sassy, and she's sassing him a little bit. First, she says it's very important for us to get this program up and running. Do you agree with it? And he was like, yeah. And then she goes, where's the money going to come from? Which is usually the question you ask when you don't want it to get off the ground, right? War with Iraq, we didn't ask, where's the money? War with Afghanistan, where's the $6 trillion going to come from? $6 trillion for a war? Nobody asked, Where is the money going to come from? Because we have to do this. It's a priority. Get it done. But Bernie Sanders says, let's get universal health care. Well, where's the money going to come from? Well, just, the Afghanistan war. We're not in the war, so just take that money and put it into the universal health care program. Otto von Bismarck figured this shit out in goddamn 1800 something, so.
Investment.
Germany.
Revenue. So we're going to ask the wealthiest in Canada to help invest in these programs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that means that. So that means that the cost of living for the middle class and lower income, it's not going to increase.
Not at all. This is only, we look at who's not paying their fair share. Middle class families, lower income families are certainly paying their fair share. They don't have access to offshore tax havens. They don't have access to CEO stock option loopholes. But those loopholes that exist have to be clamped down on. One concrete example is the CEO stock option loophole could raise as much as $1 billion of new revenue. Mr. Trudeau promised to do it in 2015. 4 years later, he hasn't done it. And to me, it looks like again and again, governments work for the richest. They don't work for families that need help, families like you. And I want to make sure we change that. I'm in it for you. I want to fight for you.
Another question. I'm just curious about how, because the cost of living is just going up and up and up. And is there going to be a way to reduce it, to reverse it? Because I went grocery shopping the other day, and a stick of butter was $7. So how are we going to move forward by reducing some of these prices?
Stick of butter is $7 in Canada?
It's super expensive. And I speak to people all the time that tell me how tough it is because salaries aren't going up, but the costs are going up, and it's really frustrating. So I look at what we can do at the federal level. There's a bunch of things we can do. One is, we know that the cost of healthcare is going up. Medications cost more and more. We want to put in place a universal Medicare program, a pharmacare program for all. So the medication costs, and that would save families about $600 at a minimum per year. For some families, that would mean thousands of dollars of savings. We want to put in place a dental.
So he sounds good, well-spoken, seems like he gives a shit. Now I want to mention something about Canada in general, okay? So the Canadians, they use the dollar too. They want to be like America, but I think they like that they're, not America, they're their own thing. So the Canadian $20 bill has Queen Elizabeth on its, face. They call the $20, the Canadian dollar, the loonie. It is fucking loony that Canada is still being, run by Queen Elizabeth. Their fucking sovereign is Queen Elizabeth II. We had a revolution, over 200 fucking years ago, and here Canada is just like, we like our yoke. Nah, we're going to do this. Nah, we're going to be under the reigning British monarch for the rest of our lives. All the Canadian coins have an image of Queen Elizabeth II on one side of it, and then something else on the other side. So the $20 bill has Queen Elizabeth on it. All the Canadian coins have Queen Elizabeth II on it. Now they've discontinued the penny. It's still legal tender, and they just round up, so that's kind of interesting. But it's interesting to me that they're still obeying, they're still paying homage, right? They're still saying to Queen Elizabeth II, still, curtsying, still bowing down, still genuflecting to the United Kingdom. Malise, hey Malise, whatever, they, common sense for, pain was this big-ass country shouldn't be ruled by that tiny little island, over there in Europe. But Canada was like, you know what? That tiny island over in Europe ain't so bad. It ain't so bad. You ever talked to Elizabeth, II? People talk bad about her, but she's actually quite, friendly. She's quite chummy. She can be quite colloquial. She can talk with us, rabble. She knows how to. So Canada still bows down to the monarchy. They still bow down to, fucking kings and queens, hereditary monarchy, hereditary succession. Oh, hey, why are you the king or queen? Because you're the son or the daughter of the fucking last king or queen. You didn't earn it. You didn't do shit. You just were born. And then we're just supposed to say, well, yeah, that's good. Yeah, you just have just go ahead. The prime minister, they got a prime minister, they got elections, they have like some kind of, one good thing that Canada has that the United Kingdom does not is a constitution. So Canada actually has a founding document from which to, say here's all the rules and all the laws. The United Kingdom they just make the shit up. They're making this shit up. So Canada, not only is the money, have Queen Elizabeth on it, but it's because they're a part of the British Commonwealth. They're a Commonwealth realm, whatever the fuck that means, right? So Canada is a Commonwealth realm of the United Kingdom. What does that mean? That just means that, you know, the motherfucking British are just tricky little sneaky sneaks. Their imperialism is just slimy and subtle and sinister. They just slip right the fuck in there, don't they? A Commonwealth realm, what that means is that it's a sovereign state. Canada, you can have your prime minister and your government, you run your own affairs, but Queen Elizabeth II is the monarch and the head of state. So that's the face of it, that's the illusion, you're the monarch. Each realm functions as an independent state equal with the other realms. And there you go. So Canada is a Commonwealth realm of the United Kingdom. So it's not just the money is, you know, a reflection of their great respect for the United Kingdom. Now why, you know, what happened? How come they love the United Kingdom so goddamn much? And then they also speak French. They speak French. So a British Commonwealth realm is speaking French. I saw like there's 3 debates. 2 of the debates are in French and one of them are in English. So does that mean most of Canada fucking speaks French? Canada, you don't know who the fuck you are because you don't know what the fuck you are. If you're a Commonwealth realm, that means you're English, but if you're speaking French, then you're not English at all. What the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? So I'm going to mention the War of 1812. Which I'm opposed to and I think was bullshit. And I'm very much happy with the American Revolution. If it, you know, didn't happen under George Washington, it needed to happen eventually. I'm very happy that the revolution happened. I'm not happy that slave owning and Native American genocide, you know, continued. But I'm happy that we overthrew the British redcoats and we're not under the goddamn yoke of, you know, hereditary kings and queens, the fucking monarchy. Oh, that prince. What's that prince been doing? He's just been raping chambermaids his entire life. Does that qualify him to be the goddamn king? No, it does not. Fuck kings and queens. Fuck kings and queens. So Queen Elizabeth, the monarchy, still runs Canada, but they're more of a head of state, not the head of government. The head of state is more of the face of the government. The head of government is the ones that actually control it. So kind of think, I'm not even sure what a good analogy would be. So the president is both the head of state and the head of government, so we don't really separate the two. But that's, again, the Brits are just like, okay, you be the head of government and we'll be the head of the state. What's the fucking difference? Well, the difference is we're the fucking monarchy. Just bow down and, you know, pay the British crown homage, you fucking subject. You're nothing but a subject. Shut the hell up. And the War of 1812, okay, so the whole point of the War of 1812 was to go liberate Canada. They were going to welcome us as liberators. This is Mr. Madison's war. This is Henry Clay's war. The war hawks of the U.S. government tried to liberate Canada away from the crown, but it turns out that the Canadians just love the British crown so goddamn much they're going to stay loyal to the British crown. And this is still King George III. This motherfucker stays king until 1820. King George III was king from 1760 to 1820. King George III was king of Britain for goddamn 60 motherfucking years. 60 motherfucking years? Jesus Christ, you didn't want no democracy, didn't want to vote for nothing, just wanted King fucking George to run every fucking thing. Meanwhile, we already kicked our King George out before the turn of the century. So, what, George Washington only ran shit for 8 years, and then we went with somebody else, but not the fucking British crown. 60 years, King George III. But Canada, you know, Canada did not, I don't know if they chose the British crown, but they definitely did not love Americans imperializing. They didn't like the slave-owning, Native American genociding Americans who were imperializing on their fucking lands. And then War of 1812 is also going to be when Tecumseh gets killed and also the White House is going to get burnt down. So, because of the War of 1812, this is status quo antebellum. America tried to take over Canada but failed. Canada gets to maintain its independent status as being Canada. It's its own nation. It's its own country. But it's also a part of Britain. So Britain is still part of our continent, still doing British shit, right? But they're doing this shit up in Canada, not in America. Now, Justin Trudeau, he legalized marijuana. That's progressive. I hear he's got some neoliberal tendencies. I am going to take a break, but I'm going to come right back. You have, let's see, Canada is a federal parliamentary democracy. It's under a constitutional monarchy, a constitutional realm, federal and state authorities, responsibilities, regulated in the Constitution. I don't think they have instant runoff voting. They have a party system, so that's why they got 6 political parties. They got a parliament system, a party system, the Constitution. The Constitution consists of unwritten and written acts, customs, judicial decisions, and traditions dating from 1763. The written part of the Constitution consists of the Constitution Act of March 29th, 1867, which created a federation of 4 provinces, and the Constitution Act of April 17th, 1982. The legal system of Canada is a common law system, except in Quebec, where civil law is based on the French Civil Code. So the Napoleonic Code, just like, you know, the streetcar named Desire. They have a 3 branches of government system, so they went with Montesquieu. Canada has executive, legislative, and judicial branches, and the 6 political parties of Canada is the Quebec Party, the Conservative Party, the Green Party, the Liberal Party, the New Democratic Party, and the People's Party of Canada. And, yeah, there you go. So, more about Justin Trudeau and the snap elections coming up in a second.